Hello everyone, and welcome to another glittery episode of the Takarazuka podcast. We're recording this episode on the day before Valentine's Day, and our theme is romance. We'll be discussing our favorite romantic shows, couples, pair dances, stage kisses, and anything else we can come up with. I'm Caroline from the Netherlands, and I will be your host today. Joining me are...
Carly from New York, but currently reporting from Japan.
Woohoo! Lela, the sparkly Swede.
And Lilith, also originally from New York, but now reporting in from Tokyo.
Lisa, boringly enough, still in Germany.
We also have a new member joining us today. Jeanette, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jeanette, and I'm also from Germany, like Lisa. And I'm mostly a Yukigumi fangirl, since I started to be a fangirl of Takarazuka. And I'm really excited to be here and quite nervous right now. Yeah.
Welcome! Yay!
Yay!
Don't be nervous, it's okay.
I'm always nervous.
It's just natural, I think, to be nervous.
We don't bite much.
I know.
So, okay, let's get started. To start with, I'd love to hear what everyone's happy Zuka things are for this week. So, Carly, you wanted to start. What made you happy about Takarazuka this week?
I saw Ernest in Love today.
Woo!
Nice!
Which I thought...
How was it?
It was good. It was cute. I thought it would be pretty appropriate for the Valentine's Day episode, but actually, I hadn't watched it in a while. It's like the worst romance ever.
Oops!
It's terrible. Like, they're just like mean and shallow, and then in the end they find out they're cousins and get together anyway.
Not pure and proper at all.
Thanks, Oscar Wilde.
Yeah. You know, we have a lot of cousins marrying, and then we find it romantic sometimes.
Sometimes.
Tangentially,
I'm looking
last
at you,
night
Elizabeth.
I went to the Valentine's fair in the Hankyu department store and stuffed myself full of chocolate.
Perfect.
It was also a happy thing.
So where is the omiyage for all of us?
Oh, I guess I'll have to go back.
You have to. She bought us chocolate, but she ate it.
It was all like a single bonbon for like 800 yen.
Oh my god.
But they had a lot of free samples.
The best part.
Yes, always the best part.
Well, thank you very much. Lela, what is your happy thing for this week?
So my happy thing was actually that Musumiyaku Forever on Tumblr posted pictures where like the different versions of Mirio have been like spliced together or edited together from Elizabeth. So there is Mirio being death, and then there is Mirio being Chichai Rudolfu, and then there is Mirio being all grown up Rudolfu, and it's all Mirio, and it's just all fantastic. So I guess my happy thing is Mirio in general.
Is it like the one with Sienna June singing to herself?
I love that set, that's so great.
No, it's just lots and lots of Mirio, which is great. It's just it's Mirio Rudolph with the gun pointed at her head, and then Mirio Death standing behind herself. That sounds a bit weird, doesn't it?
That's Mirio killing herself.
Literally.
It's glorious. No, because like the first time I saw Elizabeth, it was with Mirio's death, and then I found out that she had, been Rudolph, and then I was like, oh my god, it would be amazing if someone did that, just put Mirio on Mirio, and then everything is Mirio, and somebody has, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is the best day ever. So yes, So that is my happy thing.
You'll have to send us a link later so we can put it on the page as well.
Oh, actually, I have it here, so you can all see it.
I've seen it on my dashboard. I think you reblocked it, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
It's just.
I'm sure the listeners will be dying to watch this as well.
I had a caps locky flail thing about it as well, I think. Yeah. So, good moments.
Okay, Lilith, what was your happy thing for this week?
Well, one of my friends got tickets for us to go see Shakespeare together next month, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? I thought my tickets for Rayon Jack had arrived in the mail, but it was just the last chance order form. So, I thought you were giving me the things that I already paid for, but no, you just want me to spend more money.
Always.
As always. Here, look,
well.
you gave us one kidney. Don't you have a second one too?
Such is the way of Takarazuka.
It is.
It is.
Okay, well, I hope you can tell us all about Shakespeare when you've seen it. Look forward to
I hope so. Yeah. I'm excited.
Jeanette, what was your happy thing for this week?
My happy thing for this week was the picture of Mia Rurika you sent me yesterday, actually. I don't know what... was it in Graf or in Kageki or something?
Kageki,
Yeah, Kageki.
the February Kageki. Yeah.
Yes, I really like it. It killed me yesterday evening. I was staring at it for 5 minutes. I was like, Mia, how are you even real? Yeah.
That sounds about
That was
right.
my happy thing for last week.
It was a really, really nice picture.
It's a personal Valentine's picture for you.
Yeah, I bet she did it on purpose just to kill me and no one else.
I'm sure she did.
Okay, and you, Lisa, what about you?
My happy thing for this week is actually the partial cast announcement for Hoshigumi's Komori that is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Because ever since it was announced that Seijo Kaito would be joining them, I was hoping so hard that she would get to be the prince.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually got the role, and I just hope she can be as amazing as the prince usually is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the prince is a bit unusual. He is a man, but even in the Western productions, he's usually played by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pants role anyway. And he's hilarious. There is this one version that was performed in London, so it was in English and not in German. Mm-hmm. And he's standing on those stairs and he starts talking to people in French because he thinks he's in France. And then someone taps him on the shoulder and goes, "No, Your Excellency, you're in Austria." And he looks at him and then goes, "Okay, I got this." And then starts in English, "Ladies and gentlemen." And somebody taps him again. "No, Your Excellency, Austria, not Australia. Vienna." Vienna. And he just seems so disappointed.
Oh, I hope she can do that because that would be amazing.
Yes.
But the prince is my absolute favorite role in this, and I hope she just gets to be as good as she can be in comedy. Would be so
because
awesome.
She had such a good comedic timing.
She does.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I'm left. My happy thing for this week, well, it didn't start as a very happy thing. I think as most of you know, Yukigumi is doing Rurouni Kenshin right now, and this week started with them getting a lot of people dropping out because they're sick, because of the flu. They even had, I think yesterday, some websites posted news articles about it. There's like 6 people out because of the flu right now, including Ayanagi Sho, which is a pretty prominent actress in the show. And Mana Haruto, who I'm very, very fond of, got to play her role now. And I was very nervous when I first read the news because it's a really big role. It's a difficult role, and for you to have to fill in at no moment's notice must be really hard. But then I went on Twitter to see what everyone has said about it, and fans were so supportive and so positive about her performance. And a friend who saw it the other day also said she was really good. That made me all fuzzy and warm inside.
Yay, Manaharu.
Yay for Manaharu.
But I really hope everyone gets well soon and can go back, because I can't imagine how stressful this must be for them.
Oh goodness, yes.
Yeah.
I hope everyone has enough time to recover too.
Yeah. And then no one else gets sick.
Yes.
Yes.
Yukigumi, please take good care of yourselves.
Yes. Come back to us.
We love you!
So So, okay, so our topic for this episode is romance. Romance and love were a big part of many Takarazuka shows, and I personally had a really hard time picking my favorites for our discussion today, but I'm really curious to see what everyone has to say. Let's start with our favorite romantic show. Lisa, do you want to start us off?
I'm not sure I do want to start because I think every pick I prepared for today is a crack pick. But I can do it if you want to.
Yes, go ahead.
It is not my favorite romantic show per se, as that it is drowning in romance and big feelings. But I think it's my favorite romantic comedy, and I'm going to nominate Seasons of Angels for this.
No!
Yes!
I love
Season
it.
of Angels is so cute.
I'm absolutely going to do it. Seasons of Angels is the equivalent of a theater club being locked away for 24 hours and then put on stage whatever they came up with in this time. Most
I'm not
probably super
convinced that
drunk.
that's not what
Yes.
happened.
And the case in point is the group who was locked away for 24 hours and possibly got very drunk was Hanagumi,
Yes.
back when Haruno Sumire was top star. And the story itself is pretty simple. It's about a young man, Gustave, who is an artist in Paris, and who met this girl during his art studies. And this girl just happens to be the princess of the kingdom Catalonia. And so she has to go back to marry some man she has never seen before. And of course, Gustave just can't let that happen. And he follows her to the kingdom and tries to win her back. The thing about this is Gustave is barely on stage because half of the time Haruno Sumire is also playing the father of the girl Gustave is in love with. The grumpy
It's
king.
her grandfather, right?
Her grandfather, yes, I'm sorry,
Her grandfather. Because he's a grumpy old man who's so upset about the euro being introduced.
Yes, and he just basically yells and grumbles at people and then he storms off again. And poor Gustave is not alone because he wouldn't get stuff done on his own anyway. So he has his two best friends joining him to help, played by Ranjo Tomo and Ayabuki Mao. And those two best friends for me are the absolute star of this comedy.
Yes.
Because they managed to get him, his girl, get the approval of the prince, of the king, without destroying a kingdom, without killing people. Okay, they killed Prince Asala's reputation and probably his sanity, but they did not really kill people. And we actually get a happy end for everyone. And that
Except for Prince Asala.
Except for Prince Asala. Prince Asala is played by Sena Jun, and he's the intended marriage candidate for the princess. And he is basically Jack Sparrow before Jack Sparrow even existed.
Yes.
He's a prince from a Caribbean kingdom. He walks as if he's permanently drunk. And he makes the cutest noises when he's confused and tries to follow a conversation.
He looks
Which is
like
all the
Jack
time.
Sparrow.
He does
He
look
is
like
Jack Sparrow. He even has dreadlocks.
Maybe Johnny Depp watched that show when he was looking for inspiration.
Yes, I'm quite sure. Sena Jun is the inspiration for Jack Sparrow. You heard it here first. And poor Prince Asala, so that he cannot marry the princess, is now being discredited by all rules that are in the book. Like, Ranjo Tomo dresses up as some... I don't even know what it's supposed to be. He's from Arabia, and I think he's supposed to be a merchant. And he tells the king about the prince being in debt, while Ayabuki Mao tells the king, tells the prince about the king being in debt and just wanting this marriage for the money. And because that is not enough yet, they also convince the court physician that the prince has Alzheimer's disease and doesn't even remember his own younger brother. And when that is still not enough, they both show up in drag, as in meaning they are not playing women, they are still playing men in dresses. And both claim to being married to poor Asala and start fighting over him on stage.
See, what I love about that too is that in every night of that show, they showed up wearing different wigs and they were in drag.
It's so beautiful. It ends with Asala being chased by the whole kingdom with butterfly nets because they think he's a danger to public security. And he just
So
wants to go
hilarious.
home. And in the end, the queen helps him escape because the poor guy really has suffered enough now.
Yeah.
And then
It's
we
so
get our
hilarious.
happy end and Gustav gets to marry his girlfriend. Yay! Another reason why I think they were all drunk when coming up with this, by the way, is the fact that the Shinjin Koen has completely different lines from what ended up being on DVD in the end. It's just
There's
like...
probably a lot of ad-libbing as well.
Yes, it sounds as if at least 50% of this were ad-libbed.
Probably.
I remember the first time I watched the show, and it was just, what the hell is even going on?
Yes.
I think I needed to watch it 3 times before I understood what was going on.
They also broke the fourth wall several times.
Yes.
Like the king commenting on the fact that Gustav looks a lot like Haru no Sumire, and you're just like, well, guess what?
That's a joke they did a lot, especially with Osa.
Because she has very distinctive features, I think.
Yeah.
As long as
Well, they
Mizu
did
is
that
not
with the
around
king,
to confuse
too.
people. Yeah, the king looked like Haru
when she
no
was the
Sumire.
king, they were looking at it like, wow, you have a really long face. Sort of like Haru no Sumire.
He looked a lot like Haru no Sumire when he was younger. It is also, I think, when Asala goes into the audience, Senna-jun had to find the free seat every evening because I think the free seat was always in a different spot.
Oh.
So
That's just mean.
Yeah, there is a free seat you can sit down in. We don't tell you where it is, but we promise there is one.
Good luck, you have to earn it.
So, yes, this is my favorite pick for romantic comedy because it is really confusing when you watch it for the first time, but it just generally makes me really, really happy to watch this show.
It's a very good pick, yes.
I want to add that if
Carly,
this sounds amazing to any of our listeners who haven't seen it, you can get it for $5 subtitled at the Takarazuka Insanity Project, which is great because, I mean, it's like comedy gold. So if your Japanese
It's
is
worth
not
it.
so great, real good opportunity to see a really funny show.
Even
Yes.
if your Japanese is good, you might still want the help of the subtitles for the first time. Because
Yeah.
there will be a lot of people talking at the same time and talking really, really fast, especially Ranju Tomo and Ayabuki Mao. I
And
think
it's a really good show.
30% of the show is puns, so that helps too.
yes.
Yeah. Very good tip, Carly. Do you want to go next? I know you have a really good show to talk about.
I don't know if I'd call it good.
Carly, you're trying to sell this show here. Come on, try.
Okay. I also don't know if this is my favorite romance, but it is definitely a trashy romance, and I thought of it honestly because in the last scene, they look like sweethearts candy, which is what I think of on Valentine's Day. So the show I picked was Romance Still Party, Romance in Paris, which is a 2003 Yukigumi show starring Asami Hikaru and Maikaze Rida. They really backed into this one, I think, in the sense of Asami Hikaru Komu is a brilliant, brilliant dancer, and not exactly a romantic, I would say. So I look at the show and I say, I think they were thinking like, okay, so she's gonna get a crazy good review where she can dance, but we have to put something in the first half. And then they said, well, these two really never, like, fall in love like two normal people, so maybe that would be a good idea. And then the plot just doesn't matter. It completely doesn't matter.
So basically, the author just wanted to write slice of life for once.
this super Cliff's Notes version is Asami Hikaru plays a character named Vincent who owns a nightclub in Paris and kind of doesn't want to have anything to do with anyone or anything. But his father and his brother-in-law are oil tycoons who are trying to strike some kind of deal with the king and the military of what is literally described as a kingdom.
That is probably Cannellonia.
The people from this kingdom have very stereotypical, obvious, like, Middle Eastern names and costumes in the, you know, Takarazuka horrible stereotype sense of other cultures, I guess. And they're using the nightclub as a meeting place, And Vincent is not happy about this until the princess of a kingdom shows up. And she's beautiful and flawless. And that's my Kazedita. Her character's name is Nadia. So there's all this political stuff that goes down. The king gets captured. There's all kinds of threats to this oil deal that they're trying to make, but it doesn't matter. Like, it completely doesn't matter. The only thing that really happens is at some point they're trying to hide the princess, and they put Vincent in charge of this. So while they're off hiding in the villa, they fall in love, of course. And then they just have this... The climax of this show is this date where Como is wearing like a lavender suit and Machan is wearing this pink dress, and they just look like sweethearts candy, and they're running around doing all this stereotypical romantic stuff, and Komu's being really, really awkward, and then they just have this adorable date, and it made me go, aw, because usually their shows end with like Komu getting shot, or they were never in love in the first place, or Machan goes blind and then dies. So their little sweethearts candy date was a very refreshing moment for me.
Now, Carly, is lavender actually Komu's default getting stuff done color? Because isn't the serious business suit from Silverwolf, for example, also lavender?
Yes, when it's time for a serious knife fight, you put on your best lavender suit. I mean, again, this is a rumor that I heard. I think that was the fight where she got punched in the nose.
Yes, I think that was that one.
Mizu broke her nose, and then she went to the hospital, and intermission was an hour long, and she came back for the review. That's what I was told, anyway.
We should maybe add that Mizu broke her nose accidentally.
Not a purpose.
Yeah.
No, Mizu is just such a walking disaster.
Mizu is an accident waiting to happen. Her accident quota was 60% when I saw her.
Okay, so that was Romance de Paris.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
What do you have for us?
Okay. Well, this one was actually tough for me, because as much as I love Chie's shows, I don't really like most of them just as pure romances. So for Best Romantic Show for me, I actually picked a review, Legend of the Review, which is a 2005 Soragumi half-length review starring Walyoka and Hanafusa Mari. And this one actually has a story, and it's a review. It's an anniversary piece celebrating, I think, the 77th anniversary of Monpari, the first staging. And so the story is interesting. It opens with the main character from Monpari, Kushida, who is now living happily in the stars, I guess. Most of the characters are stars. And his girlfriend is making fun of him because for some big hero of a review, you sure just like sitting on your butt and not doing anything. And so they decide they're going to make a new review. And they look down at Earth and see this girl, Gigi, Hanafusa Mari, who is homeless and sad and actually dying. And so Kushida's like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a review, and we're going to make her the star of the review so that she's going to be happy. And so they do this, and their lead star, Aurelian Walyoka, falls in love with Gigi. And in the story, basically, they take Gigi and they give her all these beautiful clothes and teach her how to dance. And Gigi has a great time with the last days of her life. And because, of course, it's Walyoka and Hanafusa Mari, yes, she dies. Because they can't have a show together where one of them doesn't die.
That's just
But-
not going to happen. If she survives the show, you have to kill her in the review. No, it's really true. I saw this show too, and I was thinking, oh my god, they both survived the show. What is this? And then the review came, and I was like, oh, okay. That's true.
Stars, and it's really cute and it's really sweet. And it's sad in that one moment, but the rest is also really funny because you also had Mizunatsuki and Yamato Yuga as double comedy leads for the show.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of play and silliness going on from them, including Hanafusa Mari just completely mocking Mizu and making fun of her during one of the opening numbers, which was great. It's so cute. I can't recommend it enough. It's one of my favorite reviews.
It's really.
I have
really
actually
adorable.
not seen that yet, so I must watch it.
You should
It's
watch it,
quite
especially
good.
for the. I think they're making fun of Mizu was the toy soldier scene, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Where Mizu is trying to be all serious business, and Hanafusa Mari is just like, nope, that is not happening. Let me steal your stuff.
It's like stealing her baton, setting the police on her.
This is turning into the
Great.
Put Mizu on Blast episode.
I love Mizu a lot, but she's just so easy to do that with.
We do it because we love her.
Yes,
It's
loving
true.
trolling.
Okay, thank you, Lilith. Jeanette, what is your favorite romantic show?
That pick wasn't actually that hard because I really like all the Mizugumi shows, like from the era when Mizunatsuki was top star. And
More Mizu.
and I picked Kimi wa Aishiteru, Je t'aime. And it's set in the 20th century Paris. And Mizunatsuki plays Georges de Charette. And the show starts with his father's last will being published. And it says that Georges has to marry a girl of high society or blue blood in order to get the money from his father within half a year. And Georges is really unhappy about it and says, yeah, no, I don't want to marry. I'm unhappy. I'm so lonely. And one of his best friends, Philant, who is played by Otozuki Kei, takes him to a revue theater he knows well. And because he's so sad, Georges gets drunk and remembers that his father recommends to go to the church when having problems. And drunk as he is, Georges decides to go to the church, but sits down in front of it. And I think he thinks that he's going to freeze to death. And the moment before he falls unconscious, he sees an angel. And he later learns that it actually was a girl named Marquise. And the story is a bit flat, I think, because Marquise is like, yeah, don't complain, you can do so much better if you just want. Along the story, Georges finds out that Marquise owns a circus, but Marquise is in trouble because the person who owns the circus site sets her under pressure to move on, to leave the site, and Georges wants to help her. And along trying to help her, he falls in love with her. And of course it turns out well, and Seligman gets Alceste because he really loves her, but always restrained himself from admitting it because he didn't want to betray on Georges. And in the end, Georges realizes that he doesn't need all the money his father had, but he really needs Marquise because when he's with her, she's all he needs. So it's really cute.
Aww.
Yeah, it's really cute. Yeah, it's also a bit setting Marquise under pressure because he has this ex-lover who's played by Ayubu Kimao, who was the Nibante from that time, the rose named Argon, and he's like, yeah, if you marry me, you can save your circus, and I'll take all your performers to my circus, and you'll be alright, but she's like, no, I can't marry someone like you who's only doing circus for profit and not for entertaining and for the people being your family. Yeah.
Circus rivalry.
Circus rivalry is new.
I'm
Maybe
sorry,
we should
I was
also
so
add
confused.
that all the male characters in this show should not be allowed to dress themselves.
Yeah.
True.
Is this the show where Tonami is in that like adorable little outfit? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Yes.
That pink
was super
purplish
descriptive,
cloud
just-
outfit.
And
They
Alceste
also
is
cute.
just and Alceste is just wearing polka dots and stripes and
Yeah.
awful colors and everything combined.
Yes. I really like Alceste because Alceste is played by Oki Kaname, and because Alceste is so unhappy with not getting Célimène because Célimène is supposed to marry Georges, he's always pouty. Like this really disappointed, pouty face. It's so cute.
Oki Kaname and her usual ocean of misery.
Sorry. Yes.
I've watched this show one time, and honestly, my memory is terrible unless I've watched a show like 12 times. But my favorite part of it is actually the commercial.
Yeah, I was going to mention that as well.
If you would like to have all of the major otakuyaku from Mizu era Yukigumi tell them that they love you one by one, you should watch this commercial.
It's great for when you're not having a good day, you just put it on and then you have Oki Kaname looking really shy and as if she's having a really hard time to get the words out, and then she just kind of looks down, looks up at the camera. Kimi o aishiteru.
Please don't stab me, but I love you.
Moment of, ah!
Oh, you cutie! Come back in 10 years when you're grown up.
It's really cute. Basically, Oki Kaname is my main reason to watch that show.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I can't help it, but I always love when I see her on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And also Otozuki Kei, because everyone else is getting romance and lovey-dovey stuff, and Kimo's just there like, yeah, I'm happy. My friends grow up and get a family and stuff. I just stay with my dancer girls.
I got all the girls in this show anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really fluffy show, like for warm, fuzzy feeling.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Jeanette. Nella, what was your favorite romantic show for today?
So I picked Meguriai wa Futatabi because, well, partly it's because the first time I met a Japanese Takarazuka fan, she recommended, like, that was the first thing she recommended me, was like, you have to watch Meguriai wa Futatabi.
She's right. She's very right.
And so she tried to explain the plot to me in Japanese, which made me really confused. And then I was like, oh, there are two of them. And she's like, yeah. So the second one is when they get married. And I was like, okay. So the first one is the romantic bit. And there are so many pairings. So Megurei wa Futatabi, it means a second fortuitous meeting. It's the second act to Nova Bossa Nova. Like, so they had the review bit first, and then they had the play after, if I understand it correctly.
Right, and then there's another short review after that.
Ah, yes. There's just, like, with the dance and everything.
Right.
Yes, and they are, like, Chie is really, really sparkly in that one.
Yes.
And they have the yellow kind of... they look a bit like adorable chickens. Yeah, it's glorious.
Dancing to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It's so cute.
Yeah, it's absolutely adorable.
So we have chickens dancing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star?
Yes.
Okay, I'm
exactly.
It's Takarazuka, why not?
I'm sold.
So this is a Hoshigumi show from 2011. I forgot to mention that. And it stars Chie Nene, so that's Yuzuki Rion and Yumesaki Nene. And they are a really good Takarazuka couple. Like, they do a lot of really good romance work together, I think. So they are a really cute couple to begin with. And then I think there are 5 couples at the end, aren't there?
That sounds about right.
There's at least 5. So the premise of the whole thing is that Yumesaki Nene plays Sylvia or Shirbia, that's how they say it.
Yes.
Sylvia, who is the daughter of Count Orgon.
Yes.
And he is trying to marry her off, and she has an older brother and an older sister, but he's trying to marry her off for some reason. And then there are going to be 5 nice dudes who come to kind of compete, show themselves off, and then she will pick one that she likes the best. But Sylvia herself does not like this idea, because she is a bit she doesn't really like the whole idea of an arranged marriage, and also she was really in love with this dude who, when she confessed to him, he was like, meh, I don't know. And she was so crushed by that she's like, no, I want to figure this out without them knowing who I am, kind of thing. And then there is the male protagonist, which is Yuzugirion, of course, and it's Dorante Vesper. I cannot pronounce these names properly, but Dorante Sama anyway. And he is one of the suitors who is going to come and see if he wants to marry her, because her family is very rich, like they have a lot of land and a lot of money, and his family is very high standing, but they're very poor, so he has to go there to kind of court her, and he's not really keen on that idea. He doesn't want to marry someone just because that will give him money. He wants to marry someone that he loves. And so what they end up doing is that they switch places with their servants. So when Dorante arrives, his servant is dressed up as him, and he's dressed up as his servant. And Sylvia has dressed up as her. How do you say? Well, it's not court lady, but like her maid. Risetto, I think her name is, right? Lisette, yeah, Lisette. And then they get to know each other, and they fall in love, thinking that, oh my god, I fell in love with this like high-standing person's servant. And it's quite angsty. Well, I mean, in that moment when they're like, oh my god, I love you, but I cannot love you. Oh my god. And then Emma Naoki, who plays Sylvia's father, is like asking everyone how they, because the servants who are playing their masters, they fall in love with each other as well. So like when he asks them like, oh how are you doing, they just burst out into tears, like they're just, no, I cannot with this, it's so painful. And but it's like a really fluffy, feel good show, and it's like when they cry, it's funny, because like, oh yeah, because they're in love with each other, and it's going to, like, it's going to end up well. So that's why I think this is a really good show to watch for Valentine's, or any time really when you want to just feel happy and fluffy, because it's funny, and I feel like the characters are quite well-rounded. Like, they don't feel shallow or anything. They feel... And also, I really love the CNs, so I guess that plays into it as well. You're like, oh, it's you, so you are gorgeous and fantastic, so therefore your character is gorgeous and fantastic. So it's a really strong cast as well. Suzumi Shio is in it as well, and she plays Sylvia's older brother. And Yume no Seika Tomomin, she's in it. And also Kurenai Yuzuru, she is in there. And Makazu Suzuo, she's also in there. So it's like, what a cast. Seriously, it's so great. You know, from a Japanese fan to me and now to you, this is the osusume of your life.
That is a really great show. It's one of my favorites also. It's so cute, and Benny's comedic acting is spot on in both Meguri eyes. Like, there were people when we were watching this in the theater that were crying from laughing so hard. So
That's always a good indicator.
Yes, it is. I think she might be the funniest character, actually, because like she's just so outrageous and going like, and just like screaming and stuff out. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna go. I love her. I'm not going. It's like, oh,
Yanisu! Like lying down on the floor.
oh, so fresh. And she looks really good in the lavender outfit as well. It's really good.
We got a lot of lavender in this episode.
We have
too.
so much lavender.
Lavender and putting Mizu on blast.
It's the lavender Mizu episode.
Hi.
Thank you very much, Lola. I actually had a really hard time picking a show for this because I've discovered that all my favorite shows that have some kind of romance in it end up with people dying in the end, which is not very good for Valentine's Day. It's not what you want for your warm fuzzies. But then I remembered the great one, Paradise Prince, which was a Sonogumi show from 2008 with Yamato Yuga and Hizuki Hana as the leads. It's a very fluffy show, much like Kimi wa Aishiteru. It has no real great moving plot in the back. It's basically just a show for you to feel good afterwards. The premise is Yamato Yuga plays Stuart, who is the son of a deceased, very famous painter, who has also become a painter. He's lauded as the prince of modern art. Except that Stuart has always dreamed of being an animator. So one day he decides, what the hell, I'm going to pursue my dreams, and runs away from home to join an animation studio, where he meets Catherine and all other animators who work at that place, who are all poor, mostly were art students, but who become disenchanted with the world of animation and with art because they're just not getting anywhere, their work is not exciting. He and Catherine start talking, and she dreams of being a great artist, and she's trying to join this competition, this art competition, where she could win, I think, a scholarship if she won the first prize. And he starts encouraging her and going, yes, no, you can do it, believe in yourself, believe in your dreams. And encouraged by that, she tries to do better, and they fall in love. But Stuart's producer, played by the amazing Ranjo Tomo, wants Stuart to come back and continue working as an artist. So he tricks Catherine into coming to his studio and tells her about Stuart's real identity, this artist that she actually knew about and admired, but no one had ever actually seen in real life, so no one recognized who he was. And she grows disenchanted with him because of that, because he was talking all about, yes, you can attain your dreams. While he was born into a rich family, he had everything he ever wanted from day one, while she and her friends were struggling for such a long time to try and make the dreams come true. Drama happens, and we get happy endings for everyone eventually. And I love this show because, for one, everyone gets a really happy ending. There's even the evil characters end up being sort of lovable. Ranjo Tomo is amazing as the villain. She has this cocky, evil thing that's also kind of sexy. You have Yumi Hiro playing his very sexually ambiguous secretary, who's obviously in love with him.
I love the fact that every time Anthony, Ranjo Tomo's character, is talking to a person of female gender, Yumihiro is just standing in the background and looking at them and being really, really pouty. Senpai, notice me!
She is amazing. And you have Stuart's mother, who is still very sad about her husband passing away, like, I think 17 years before the story is set, who eventually also overcomes the grief and finds a happy end, which is also beautiful. But my favorite part of the story is that it also plays a lot with the fourth wall. there's this one scene where Stuart and Catherine are sitting together at home for the first time. She threw a Halloween party and invited him. And they start going over art books together and going, oh, I love this painting. Oh, you have this one too. Oh, and, as you do. And they start falling in love. And as they do, the rest of the scene starts going dark. And this heart-shaped, pink light starts shining on the two of them. And the other characters in the scenes are going, wow, it's going dark, isn't it? It feels like we're just being ignored, like they're in their own little world. And it was such a perfect way of showing, hey, guys, they're falling in love. If you hadn't noticed, this is the main pairing of the show.
What I also love, Stuart created this character, his Paradise Prince, as he calls him. Mm-hmm. And the Paradise Prince is shown as it's also done with the lights. He looks like a children's drawing. Mm-hmm. And the character is then shown in the background when Stuart has a very emotional moment and sings about his feelings for Catherine, and there is just this very happy stick figure in the background. I was also tempted to nominate Ralph and his cow as my favorite pairing for this episode, but I didn't end up doing it.
So yeah, Ralph is a character played by the amazing Hokusho Kairi. It's hard to talk about him without spoiling too much about the plot, but it's Ralph's first entrance as a newbie in the animation studio. It's just this weird Oklahoma kid with, what did he have in his pockets? It was some kind of vegetable. I forget what vegetable it was, but I handing everyone vegetables going, oh, here's a present from my hometown. Yes, corn. Ears of corn. Here's a present from my hometown, guys. And her hair is so weird, and she's just so weird.
Also, I think Ralph has the worst fashion choices ever in this entire show.
Yes.
Ralph is also the permanent romance blocker. There's this one moment when Stuart and Catherine are sitting there on the cushions and all lovey-dovey and about to kiss, and then Ralph just literally falls in through the door and yells and starts looking at the shelves and... No, you are not. It's basically Takarazuka's way of saying, we still have 40 minutes to fill. You are not kissing her yet. Carly, what did you want to say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say that it's pretty stereotypical for the Oklahoma kid to have corn in his pocket, but then I thought about it more, and it's probably accurate.
You would know it better than I would.
I mean, says the New Yorker, so.
I mean, the first time we actually see Ralph, and we don't know it's Ralph yet, is when Stuart comes up with the great idea of biking through the whole United States to make his dream come true.
Oh, yeah.
Because apparently when you're rich, you can't afford plane tickets or something like that. And he just meets this random group of cowboys with their cows who go, yee-haw at him! And you're just like, what is the purpose of those cowboys? Why are they on stage? Why do you have random cowboys in this show?
And there's a cow as well.
Yes, there's a cow as well.
Ralph's cow.
It's Ralph's cow. So, he has a little keychain of her on his backpack.
Yes.
So yeah, Hokusho Kairi is also a interesting, part of the show.
Precious.
Distinguished top star Hokusho Kairi.
Distinguished.
In one of her best moments.
Actually, during the Senshuraku for this show, when Ralph comes to introduce himself to the rest of the animation studio, instead of saying her usual lines, Hokusho Kairi just started to sing some enka song about Yamato and looked at Yamato Yuga the whole time while doing it. And they just happened to do a close-up when they filmed it for Sky Stage of Hizuki Hana's face in that moment, and Hizuki Hana's face was just like, why am I top star of this troupe? Why is this happening?
Can we transfer her out of this troupe?
Can I transfer out of this troupe?
I also love it because at that bit you can see Yamato Yuga breaking character. She starts laughing.
Yes.
But it's just so mean if you don't expect it.
Yes.
And the Oklahoma kid starts singing enka at you.
That must be so weird. Like, Michan, what are you doing? No!
Okay, so I think that was it for our favorite romantic shows.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Favorite couples. Lilith, do you want to get us started?
Sure, why not? So I also had a lot of trouble with this one. I eventually narrowed it down to 2. Fortunately, one of those we can go through quickly because it's actually Doront and Sylvia from Meguriai.
Oh, okay.
I think they got a lot of development, especially compared to most Takarazuka couples. There's a lot of either they hate each other, then they love each other, or love at first sight.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Dorant and Sylvia is almost they hate each other, they love each other, but not quite. Because they argue, but they get a lot of development, and they do get to know each other, and they find out that they like each other a lot, and then fall in love, and it's really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And for the second one, I was going to say, actually, the Beast and Belle from Prince of the Land of Roses, but I only saw that show once, and all I remember from it was that it was really precious, and I liked it. So, for one that I can talk about more, I actually went with Marguerite and Percy from The Scarlet Pimpernel, which we all know is one of my favorites that I love to death.
Thank
And
you
so my
much for
favorite
picking
one...
it.
You're welcome. Did you think that I wouldn't?
I was considering picking it, and then I didn't pick it, and I felt so guilty for it, but now you did, so thank you so much.
The Hoshigumi Scarlet Pimpernel is probably my favorite Takarazuka show, hands down, so I had to mention it at least once.
Very good.
Percy and Marguerite I really love just as a couple, because they do meet and fall in love and get married almost before the musical even starts. And then they start to doubt each other because of outside circumstances. And even though they still love each other very much and they're having the relationship problems, it's very satisfying in the second act when it's resolved and they can trust each other again. And so the reprise of A Piece of Courage that Marguerite sings in the Comédie Française is probably, for me, one of the most beautiful romantic moments, because even though she doesn't know that Percy is there listening to her, she still wants to express how much she loves him. Even though she knows it's probably going to get her killed, because now she is being held by the revolutionary government. And so I just found that all very sweet and very lovely. As much as I joke that none of the men in that show deserve Marguerite, she's too good for any of them, I do really love her romance with Percy.
None of them did deserve Marguerite in any way.
No.
None of them did. She's too good for them.
But if she had to end up with someone, I'm glad it's Percy.
Yes.
Yes. Even though Chauvelin, played by Chie, is my favorite character, no. She doesn't deserve the girl at all. She's a terrible person. And so I just liked the character progression and the arc that their romance went through. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's one of my favorites as well.
I think it's a nice change from the usual, starting from them being strangers, ending with them getting married or falling in love, with them starting from being in love and then working through problems that they had as a couple and then resolving them.
Yes.
Yeah.
With exciting sword fights.
Okay, Lisa, do you want to go next?
Can I get 2 picks too?
Yes, of course.
Because I can't decide. My first pick I can go over really quick because it's just a side thing, but it's... I just love it so much. The second one I can elaborate a bit more on. My first pick is Danton and Solène from Takarazuka version of 1789. Because to me they felt like the most balanced couple and the couple that could have, worked on their own as well. Because Solène managed to get by just fine without George. She just happened to really like him. And he is never trying to hold her back from doing anything. Like at the end when they are going to the Bastille and trying to fight, he's not trying to go, oh no, you're a woman, you're staying at home. But she's coming with him and they're doing stuff together. And it always felt very much on the same level to me. Like when Ronan comes in and she goes, that's my sister, and Danton is like, what? He looks at Solène first to confirm that this guy is actually her brother. And then when she asks him to leave, he just leaves. He doesn't ask questions. He trusts Solène with her decision and with what she wants to do. And I basically would have watched a show about those two, but it was not happening.
I want a show about it, that's true too.
Yes, me
I
too.
love them.
And my second pick are Steven and Samantha or Tony and Lola from Copacabana.
Yay! Copacabana! I love it.
Copacabana, in this case, is a show from 2006, performed by Hoshigumi. There is also a version by Soragumi, but I like the Hoshigumi version a bit better. And the top star at the time was Kozuki Wataru, with Shirahane Yuri as her partner, and Aran Kei and Toko Asuka in the Nibante positions. It's based on a musical by Barry Manilow, and it's about Steven, who has been married to Samantha for 5 years at this point, and who's trying to write a song on the evening of their wedding anniversary, but he has serious writer's block. So he falls asleep on his piano while writing, and in his dream he is not Steven anymore, but Tony, who's working in a nightclub called the Copacabana, and who becomes friends and falls in love with a girl named Lola Lamar, who wants to work in that nightclub and is pretty terrible at it at first. But Takarazuka works magic, and getting her out of the very boring dress with floral print suddenly makes her really hot and an amazing dancer. And this amazing, hot and sexy dancer then attracts the attention of Rico Castelli, who's an Italian mafia boss who conveniently has a nightclub located on Cuba and is very bored with his current affair or girlfriend, Conchita, who used to be a great dancer and star too, but apparently she's getting too old for Rico's tastes, so he's now looking for a new girlfriend. And the gentleman that he is, Rico just decides that drugging and abducting her is the way to go about it. Tony, of course, can't have his girlfriend abducted, and he goes to Cuba to rescue her, heroically. And basically Tony doesn't get anything done, and Conchita tells him how to do the whole thing. In the end, Conchita ends up shooting Rico in a jealous rage, and Tony can go back with Lola. That is the point when Steven wakes up, and Steven is very, very confused, that Lola is in his apartment, and going all, honey, you didn't forget about our anniversary dinner, aren't you? And then Lola's parents come for a visit because they wanted to go for dinner with them, and they look exactly like two characters from his dream, like the nightclub owner and the lady working there who took Lola under her wings. And he's already confused, and Lola's parents, Samantha's parents, are like, I think they need a break, we'll just wait outside. And Steven just wants to hug his wife and kiss her because he's so happy that she's still there. And then the door opens again, and Samantha's sister and her husband, again, Tono Asuka and Aran Kei, come in, and Steven is about to panic because, oh my god, he's going to steal my girlfriend again, help, help. And it takes him until the very end to realize that he just dreamed everything and that he loved Samantha all along, and his imagination just got the better of him and made things a bit more exciting. And I really loved him as a couple because he never really lost his love for her or found her boring or anything. And he is so happy that he can congratulate her on their wedding anniversary, and he doesn't even want to let go of her once he realizes that she is really there and that she's real. And being so happy about it after 5 years when most Takarazuka romances just get to the point of them being together and then nothing anymore, I just find that really, really sweet. It helps that Kozuki Wataru looks like a big, big puppy whenever she's looking at Shirahane Yuri.
Yes!
Always. So yeah, those are my picks for the couples.
Okay. For the people who haven't seen Copacabana and wonder why everyone started giggling when she mentioned Rico, Aran Kei has some of the worst fashion choices in that show. It's worth watching it just for Rico suit.
Aran Kei does not only have some of the worst fashion choices in this show, Aran Kei is a caricature of overdone manliness.
Yes.
Like, Rico is sitting there and his legs are always like at least 40 centimeters apart because he is that much of a manly man. He almost falls off his chair when he sees Lola dance because he has to lean in to see her butt better. And he keeps smoking those cigars, and the cigars just get bigger as the show progresses. And he's a real caricature of an Italian macho man, I guess.
Actually, my reason to watch this show is Aran Kei, because Rico is just so funny as a character if you don't take him serious, and I don't take him serious.
It's fun to hate him. Rico is the king of all slime
Yes.
balls.
Yes, odd slime ball, exactly.
Okay. Carly, what's your favorite couple?
I looked back through the list of all of the shows that I've watched, and all of my favorites are like super romantically challenged. So I'm gonna have to pass on this one. Seriously, I like
That's
people who
quite a
cannot
feat
romance
for-
each other to save their lives.
Well, okay then, Jeanette.
I picked Annabelle and Elliot from Silveros Chronicle. It's a ball haul from 2007, I think.
Yes, 2007.
With Aya Bukimao as the lead and Otsuki Sayo as the Musumeyaku lead. And it's about, it's a vampire story. And Annabelle fell in love with Elliot's grandfather. Actually, I'm not sure anymore about the story, but his grandfather died, and like life happens, and Annabelle meets Elliot later on, and I think she is instantly interested in him. And Elliot is this super awkward nerd with his huge black glasses, and he's also wearing protectors for his sleeves at work so they don't get stained or anything. It's so cute. Elliot is so awkward whenever Annabelle tries to talk to him. It's so cute, and all the other people who always laughed at him try to help him to get the girl, and he's really sweet with her. I like it. Yeah, I can recommend to watch it because it's a really good bow haul, I think.
Elliot is also permanently scared of Annabelle's older brother, Okikaname,
Yes!
who looks like Toad's love child with a glam rocker, I don't know.
Yes!
And he approaches Elliot, and Elliot is like, oh my god, this big guy all in black is going to beat me up because I talked to his girl. And then Christopher just looks at him and keeps looking. Your clothes are really cool.
With that expression.
Yes. And Elliot is because his grandfather always kept telling him stories about vampires. He is this vampire nerd who always gets made fun of at work. But those work mates are also the ones who try to teach him how to pick up a girl and how to dance properly. And it all just doesn't work.
Yeah. But Elliot eventually finds his own way to get brave and talk to Annabelle about his feelings. It's also words. Annabelle's in danger, and Elliot's like this super nerdy guy who's afraid of like dust on the floor, gives his best to save her. It's really cute.
I also like that Annabelle this time is the more grown up and I think also more interested character in Elliot, because Elliot is at first too scared to do anything. So there is more initiative on her part than there is on his at the start,
Yes.
which is quite unusual for Takarazuka.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe that has something to do with Annabelle being a vampire and being like, I don't know how many years older than him.
Slightly older.
Just a bit.
Just a teensy bit, yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. My favorite couples, I also picked two. My first one is Jin and Saki from the 2012 production of Jin by Yukigumi, played by Otozuki Kei and Mai Hanemine. The story, the show is based on a manga, which already should say enough about how convoluted this story can be. But basically, Jin is a doctor whose fiance dies, and a bit later on, he does a sort of a time travel thing where he ends up at the last few days of the Edo period, when there's a lot of fighting going on between different factions. And there he meets Saki, who looks exactly like his dead fiance. But you would think that they will look at each other and there will be a moment of, oh my god, you look like my dead fiance, I'm in love. And it doesn't go like that. Actually, the relationship develops really slowly and, in my eyes, very beautifully. Jin is a doctor, and Saki's father passed away from cholera. And because of that, she's very interested in medicine and what Jin does. So their relationship actually starts off with her wanting to learn from him, to learn how to be a doctor out of her respect for him. And he respects her as someone who can do that. There's a lot of beautiful dialogue between Saki and her brother and Saki and her mother. Her mother doesn't really approve of this choice she's making of trying to become a doctor, trying to learn all these things. But eventually she comes to accept it, and I really love this, that you get a more relationship between her and her family as well, besides only her and Jin, that it's something that really goes full circle. My second one is Jeremy and Emma from The Wild Meets the Wild, Boho production from 2013. Jeremy was played by Hasumi Yuya, and Emma was played by Kano Maria. This is also a slightly weird story. Well, it's a Western. I think that says enough. Basically, it was a double lead for Hasumi Yuya and Nanami Hiroki, who play foster brothers that go apart when Jeremy, played by Hasumi Yuya, leaves the town where they grew up in. And Jeremy ends up becoming a kind of a bounty hunter who thinks that he's cursed and who has some serious complexes about life and everything. Emma, who first appears as a dancer at a bar, ends up revealed that she's also a bounty hunter, and that girl can kick ass. She has Nanami Hiroki on the floor at some point. She gets the bad guy on the floor at some point. She's not the usual scared girl who can't do anything for herself. She's brazen. She talks a lot. And she's also the one who has to comfort Jeremy when he has his issues with himself. They have a beautiful duet about his complexes and her telling him to basically get over it. But my favorite part of the relationship is actually at the end, because while it's hinted that there's some interest in that, at the end, when Jeremy hugs her and tries to kiss her, Emma pulls away, and he respects that, and then later on she kisses him on the cheek, but it's very clear that he respects that she's not ready for anything to go beyond that, and I really like that moment between them. So yes, those are my favorite couples.
Yay!
Good picks.
Very good.
Thank you. So let's move to favorite power dances. Carly, how about you start?
Okay, I could pick every single Komu-machan pair dance, but instead of that, I decided to pick the pair dance that was from the finale of the 2006 Hoshigumi Rose of Versailles between Kozuki Wataru and Shirahane Yuri, which is just sex on stage. It is so hot. I can't even. They're both in these sparkly, bright red outfits, and Wataru is just Wataru, and Tonami, it was her top star debut, and I'm not sure she knew what hit her. I actually, that dance was also in Celebration 100. Wataru did it with Hoshina Yuri, the, OG dancing BFFs. So I wonder, has that dance been done a lot? Does anybody know? I assume because it's from Berubara, maybe it's been done for versions throughout history. But the one between Wataru and Tonami was the first one that I ever saw. I'm
not sure. I don't really watch Berubara.
Do we have anybody here who has watched enough Berubara to answer this question?
If any of our listeners know, please let us know.
Yes.
Anyway, it's fantastic. It's really.
Wataru, I just called Wataru's and Tonami's relationship cute and sweet, and I just called Wataru a puppy. You're making me look unbelievable.
I mean, you've seen this dance.
I have seen this dance. I did not pick one of their pair dances for a reason.
Well, Wataru in a romantic relationship and Wataru doing a pair dance are two completely different things.
It's true. But Wataru and Hoshina Yuri are also Doki, so I guess that doesn't really count.
I don't think they are they? I thought
think
they
they
were 1
are.
year apart.
Oh, no, sorry. Wataru is 1 year before Hoshina Yuri.
Yeah.
Ayakinao and Hoshina Yuri are Doki.
Yes. But they're both probably some of the most still active OG who always show up every time there's like
I was about to say they are in
OG show.
They are in every OG
And
thing
that's
ever.
together.
And usually dancing together unless Anju Mira is around.
Yes.
And she gets dips.
I mean, yeah. That one was pretty hot too, but the
Actually, Carly, Carol and me were watching Super Gift the other day. And we decided that God damn it, Jan should have been the tagline for this show. Because
Yeah, that was every time Angelina came on stage, she started cursing out loud.
God damn it, Jan!
we need to
But
have a conversation.
She had the best song picks, and her dancing is just
Oh no!
I don't have words.
And then you think about how old she is, and then you get really depressed.
It makes me happy actually because it makes me think, okay, Komu has at least 10 more years in her.
Yeah, but it makes me very unhappy because I am not that fit now. I will never be that fit at 50.
Oh yeah, same. I wasn't that fit at 16.
Okay, thank you. Jeanette, what is your favorite pair dance?
Actually, I couldn't pick one. Like, I made a small ranking. And I start with the third. It's from Neo-Dandyism, the pair dance between Kozuki Wataru and Shirahane Yuri at the end. Because Neo-Dandyism was Kozuki Wataru's Taidan show, or part of it. And their chemistry is really amazing, and Wataru does this amazing lift with Tonami where she only holds her at around her waist, while Tonami's on her back on like about Wataru's waist height. And they turn around for a while. It's like, Wataru, how are you able to do this? Like,
She's a robot.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure she admitted it in an interview.
yeah. I really love it. And for the second place, I actually couldn't pick a single dance for it, but I really like the pair dance chemistry between Mizunatsuki and Shirahane Yuri too.
Yeah.
Especially in the Elizabeth pair dance.
Oh, that was one of mine!
I'm sorry!
It's okay, go ahead.
Done several times. That
I had two more, it's alright.
But also in Joyful 2 and Miroir, they're really amazing. It's just their chemistry in general that's that gets me every time. On the first place are Aranke and Tono Asuka, actually, from the pair dance, and Abianto, which is Aranke's Taidan review. The reason is why I picked this one, because for me, Aranke and Tono Asuka are always lacking a bit of chemistry, like a romantical chemistry on stage. But in this dance, they finally made it at last.
Last show together. Now or never.
Saigo no Chansu.
Yeah, like that. And I rewatched it before we started to record, and I started crying while I watched it. It's so amazing for me. Yeah. So I love it. Yeah.
Okay. Lilith, what were your other two choices?
Yep. Well, besides Mizu and Yuri's Elizabeth dance, which I love just because it's really sexy. It's really sexy.
It is.
I also picked the tango between Chie and Nene in The Winds of Buenos Aires. Because I love tango and I love Chie. So, two great tastes that taste great together. So, I really enjoyed that. It was really sweet. and it's just really attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I remember the first time I watched that show, I was live tweeting angrily about how upset I was because, wow, I really love dancing, and I really love Chie, and Chie really loves dancing, but I'll never be able to dance with Chie. So, but then I did, and that was a really great dance.
Actually, I just read that online some days ago. There was an event about
dancing
with Takarazuka OGs. So if you get really lucky and murder some people, maybe you can get in line for dancing with Chie.
I'll get right on that.
Imagine that. I think it would be like, okay, let's dance. Nice.
And then you just form a puddle on the floor and you never move.
Yeah, I would probably just faint.
Or
I would step on her feet. It would be a disaster.
Then she has to carry you outside if you faint.
True.
That would be okay. I could deal with that.
There we go.
But the other one I picked was the final dance. And again, this is another tie-down. We seem to be having a theme here. From Dear Diamond, Chie and Nene's tie-down.
Mm-hmm.
And Chie and Nene, when they do pair dances, there's a lot of lifts in it, which I love. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite Takarazuka tropes, I guess you could call it, is the pair dance where the Musumeyaku is wearing a really floaty, graceful white dress and the Tokoyaku is in the classic black tailcoat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And so that hit a lot of my buttons there. And of course, Chie and Nene have beautiful chemistry together.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really graceful and really beautiful and very heartfelt.
Mm-hmm.
And done with the classic Chie Nene lift with, I don't remember how many spins it was this time, but I know at the Taiwan tour was like 10 spins, and I think they hit 13 in the Dear Diamond final, where Chie spun with Nene in her arms 13 times before putting her down, I think. Don't quote me on that, but
over?
No, they did not fall over.
I keep asking myself how they do not fall over in several of those lifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite ones that I can't actually watch very often because then I start to cry. So it's my favorite and I almost never get to see it.
Maybe in a couple of years when the whole tie-down feels have faded up a little bit.
Oh, they don't fade.
I don't know. I still can't watch my Haruno Sumire tie-down DVDs, so you know, maybe not.
Okay, maybe.
I think tie-down fields never vanish.
No, probably not.
Don't get me with a rock on, because when I start to watch it, I'm all in tears after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Carol likes to make
awful.
people watch tie-down shows and then watch them cry.
Yeah,
Yes,
I know.
terrible.
That is the thing I do.
Why? That's awful.
I know, I'm a little depressed. All you people who live far away from me, you don't know how lucky you are.
I think I have to move.
You want to
No.
move even further away from us.
Okay, so actually, one of my favorite part dances was also Mizunatsuki Shirahara Yuri from Elizabeth.
Highly recommended.
Yes,
Yes.
listeners, if you haven't seen yet, it's really good. You can see like 3 people already have mentioned it. It was Elizabeth. That Elizabeth was my first Takarazuka show.
Mine
and
too.
everything
my
about it
second
had
one.
me going wow. But when I got to the dance, it's a tango version of Saigo no Dansu, the music they're dancing to, and Shirahara Yuri just comes up in this gorgeous green dress and just starts flowing with that skirt, and it's just, I
can't.
I've watched it a million times and I still just it makes squeaky noise whenever I watch it.
I feel you.
Yes. My favorite part is when she suddenly drops to the floor and is like leaning on Mizu's leg.
Yes,
I love it.
it's just really beautifully choreographed as well.
Yes.
Another one that I had thought of, it's actually one between Oki Kaname and Misaki Yon in Amour de Kyuju, which was a review done for the 99th anniversary of Takarazuka. And it's not one of those dances that make you go, oh my god, their skills are so amazing. But I love the choreography of it. It's very playful. They have Kaname offering Misaki on her hand, and then she turns around, and it's very playful with each other, kind of like telling a story between the couple. And I really like that playfulness, which is different from the dances that are just like. It for me was a different kind of wonderful. So yes, those were my two dances. Lisa, what about you?
So everyone has talked about the Saigo no Tango of audience death yet. I want to put in a vote for that one too. It's awesome. People just go watch it. But my other pick would be also Amuro de Kyuju, but not Misaki Rion and Oki Kaname, but Misaki Rion and Asaka Manato. This Heart of Mine. Which basically tells the story of Manato trying to steal Mirion's jewelry while dancing with her. And she ends up stealing the bracelet. And you can see she already feels a bit guilty, and then Mirion comes back and just also puts the necklace into Manato's hand. And that's the moment you can just see Manato think herself to be the most awful person on earth. Because, oh my god, I stole her stuff and she's even giving me the rest too. And then she just gives it back and they end up leaving together. So Makun just showed us how to get really expensive diamond jewelry and to go with it.
Make notes, everyone!
Maybe Elliot should talk to Manato about it.
And it's a really, really beautiful dance. And I love the chemistry between Asako Manato and Misaki Rion. I think they have amazing stage chemistry. And it was already showing in that dance. They seem to be having so much fun. They seem to be enjoying themselves so much. And I really love this dance. I could watch it 10 times on repeat. It is not.
I probably have done that.
It is also not a Thailand, and it doesn't make me cry. So added bonus points for that.
Lala, did you have any dances you wanted to mention?
Well, I really like the dance at the end of Megure wa Futatabi. I'm sorry, okay, I keep mentioning this one show, but
we're going to watch it.
But what caught my eye with this one is that their outfits are just amazing. Nene is in this gorgeous dress that it looks a bit like a childhood dream to me, because it's one of those what do you call it? It's a strapless dress, and it's blue, and then it has sparkles on it, and I'm like, oh my god, it looks like a sky full of stars. This is gorgeous. Oh god. And then Chie, she's in this really super sparkly suit that is only rivaled by Michan's golden. I don't know if I want to say monstrosity, but it's really sparkly in the Entertainer, right?
To be fair, that one is one of Arankei's less horrible golden suits. Michan could have picked the worst one.
Yes, the one from Copacabana.
Yes,
from the end.
Yes. So Michan chose wisely regarding her golden monstrosity. That one is not trying to eat her.
But it's so sparkly and it's so gorgeous, and they have the chemistry going and they're really good together. So I mean, any Chi and Nene stuff is just worth watching in general, I think.
Definitely.
I see a lot of love for Shirahana, Yuri, and Mizu, and for Chi and Nene. I think we're slightly biased.
Can I throw in one
Where
more
nothing
just
is
to
not predictable.
round stuff out?
Yes, go ahead.
Out of another
Go
one.
ahead.
I love the pair dance from Hanagumi's Ocean's 11. It came into my head while we were talking about stuff, and I've only seen that once, and like I said, I have a terrible memory for things I haven't seen 12 times, and just for whatever reason I haven't watched a heck of a lot of Hanagumi, but that dance sticks in my head so clearly. It's between Ranju Tomu and Rano Hana, and it's beautiful and amazing and fantastic. That's all.
A dancing episode one day, a lot of it is actually going to be Hanagumi.
Yes, it's true.
I should watch more Hanagumi, I think.
Totally had some awesome shows during her.
Now.
I just realized I have Ocean's 11, but I never watched it. So
Go
You
do
have-
it.
Do it.
Yeah, I should.
As soon as you're finished.
Go watch it. We'll check if you did it.
There'll be a quiz in the next episode.
Homework, yeah?
Yes.
Her stage kisses are pretty good too, as long as we're talking about. Well, I spoiled what's coming next.
No! Come on. So Connie gets to introduce our next corner, the favorite stage kisses. Go. Go, Connie.
Oh, sorry.
Connie, you're not getting out of this.
No.
Well, you've opened Pandora's box, so there's no going back.
I don't know if this is my favorite one, but it's just the first one that popped into my head when I thought about stage kisses. In Al Capone, which is not that good of a show, there is a kiss between Nozomi Futo and Daigo Seishinu, where Diamond just like goes in perfectly. I think I clipped that part out of it, and like, I mean, the actual landing is a pretty standard, like, you know, turn the Musume back to the audience and just kind of hang out there, Takarazuka kiss. But going in, her face is just like perfect, and she's like aiming with her tongue. So yeah, that's
Extra dedication points to Team Diamond.
Okay.
And now we all think we sound like boring losers because we don't have anyone aiming with their tongues.
I think you got the most intense one out of the way already.
oh well.
That's
how I roll.
Damage should have gone last.
Lilith, what was your favorite stage kiss?
I have 3.
Oh, you make me feel so much better.
And, well, maybe. Well, so the first 2 are from Meguri Eye. So, while we're talking about being on a theme with this. So the first one is from the first Meguri Eye. It's Dorant and Sylvia's first kiss after their song together. When Nene is just sort of like leaning up against the wall, sort of being flirty. And Chie just like very gently takes her arms. It's a very slow, very romantic kiss. It's really sweet. And it's just precious. I love it. It's so cute. Even if Chie does sort of mess up Nene's sleeves, holding her arms like that, she like bends the ruffle up. Chie. But it's really cute. That's great. The second one is actually from Meguri Eye 2, the second one, which is at the very end after they get married. And it looks like they're going to kiss, and Nene like leans in for the kiss very happily, and Chie tweaks her nose. First, like Nene's eyes are closed, and Chie just like grabs her nose and shakes it a little bit, and then kisses her, and it's really cute, but in a completely different way. It's very playful, very sweet, where you know both the characters are pretty young, and it's funny but also adorable and lovable. So props for that one. Okay, so obligatory Meguri Eye out of the way. The third one is still Chie Nene, but from a different show this time. From In the Amber-Hued Rain. Between Claude and Sharon. Where Chie is sitting on the sofa and Nene is sort of on the floor in front of her. And I don't know if you would call this one romantic, per se, but it's hot. Like, it's really hot. Like it's definitely stage tongue action going on there. There are GIFs on Tumblr, and I highly recommend them. It's hard to find another pair that's quite so into their stage kisses as Chie Nene at that particular moment. I don't know if I would call it leading with her tongue, but... but highly recommended.
I must check the last one out.
Yes.
So we all
do it.
take notes now of which kiss has how much tongue, and then we make a ranking.
Vote now.
Okay, Jeanette, what did you pick?
Initially, I only had 2 kisses, but listening to you, I found 2 more scenes.
They're just going to be one-upping each other the rest of the episode. Everybody adds one more kiss.
Okay, one of them is from 2007, Elizabeth. It's not a romantic kiss, but I still like it. It's between Mizunetsuki and Okikaname and Death and Rudolph. When Rudolph dies, because I really like the way Mizu uses her hands on stage, and the kiss seems really gentle, although Rudolph just shot himself. And I don't know, I really like it. Don't judge me.
We're not, I feel the same.
We were just talking about how much pretend tonguing was in each of these kisses. I don't think we're in any position to judge you.
Another one, to be fair, I never watched Nijinsky. I only know the gifs of the scene between Ozuki Toma and Sagiri Sena. I was like, that one would fit into, like, wow, that scene is amazing. As I said, I never watched Nijinsky, so I can't say anything more to that, unfortunately. I think the other one I remember is from Studio 54, Tsukigumi did with Kiriya Hiromu and Aoni Yuki. I only watched the show like 3 or 4 times, and it's been a while, but there's a kiss between them where they kiss each other gently, and then Kiriya wraps her arms around Marimo and presses her closer to herself, and I think that's really cute. Like, I'm getting into this, like, I love you. And the last one I have is not actually a kiss, but whenever I watch that scene, I feel like, you have to kiss, come on, you have to kiss, but they don't. It's from Hoshigumi's A Song for Kingdoms, with Kozuki Wataru as Radames and Aranke as Aida. And the scene is at the end when they're both buried in the dark place. They found each other in the dark, and Wataru and Toko are really into the scene. I think they're hugging very much and strongly, and it's a really sad scene. It's not that romantic too, but I really like it. It was the first scene that came into my head when I thought of stage kisses.
Okay.
Because I really want the kiss to happen.
It's a believable.
Like you're mentally pressing them together, like, now kiss!
Yes!
It's a believable Aranke stage kiss that already says a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually a kiss.
Yeah, it's still closer than she usually gets.
Yes!
I mean, if you watch
Toko's so bad at stage kissing.
If you watch her kiss Tono Asuka, for example, the angle is so wrong sometimes she wouldn't even hit the ear. Let alone the lips.
Yeah, like 15 centimeters apart or something.
Your head is angled completely wrong, darling. Are you even trying?
No.
Okay, Lana, did you have any stage kisses you wanted to mention?
Well, going back to Chienene.
Because we haven't mentioned that in a while.
But actually, my one is from Napoleon.
Oh yes.
Where they're walking along, like after they have been intimate. Napoleon is it Josephine? Is
Josephine, yeah.
Yes. You know, the stage is turning and they're walking on that kind of like balcony-ish thing, and then they're kind of like Nene is walking away, and then Napoleon or Chie is like going after her, and then at the end, like Josephine kisses Napoleon instead, and I'm like, yes, I love it when like the female takes, you know, the initiative, and just so I really like that kiss as well.
That's a good one. I don't know if you've seen the footage from the rehearsals, but watching them practice that kiss was also, I think, just as good as the actual kiss itself. Because it's really sweet. They're standing there in the position, and Chie is adjusting Nene's hands. And it's really cute because, of course, you know they're really close and they really loved working together. And so just from that perspective, it's really sweet. Yeah. And from another perspective, it looks like they're kissing, and Chie is like, no, kiss me this way. And so that's pretty great also.
Oh, can you link me to that? Or...
if I can find it again, yes.
It's possible. I want to see it.
It's really sweet.
Okay, for my stage kiss, I actually sort of cheated. I picked two, but it happened in the same scene.
Okay.
It's from Maeda Keiji, and there's a scene where Sokazuka and Manaka Ayu's characters and Mizu Sawaki's and Daigo Seshu's characters are in the same scene and having sort of a romantic interlude. And what happens is that the scene starts with Mizu Sawaki and Daigo Seshu, and then Sokazuka and Manaka Ayu rise from the floor, and the stage starts turning around. So you have the two couples at the same time and opposite sides of the stage moving. And I remember when the show first started, I saw a lot of fans on Twitter just complaining, going, I don't have enough eyes for this scene. Why do I not? Like, I have to see the show many times. And I was thinking, it can't be that good, right? And then I went to see the show myself, and I'm like, crap! I only had one pair of opera glasses. Where do I point them? Thankfully, we have DVDs for that, and the DVD has one angle for each of the couples.
Oh, good.
But it's really nicely choreographed. Another nice thing about this is that this is the only time that Sokazu and Manaka Ayu got to kiss during the time as top stars.
Is that true?
Yeah. Manaka Ayu actually mentioned it in, I think, an interview, that she was like, yeah, this is the only time we ever got to kiss.
Oh my god, now that I think about it, that makes sense, but wow.
Like, they were married in one of the previous shows, but they never kissed in that show, so this was the first time it was the last show, but at least they got a kiss.
And then So was adventuring around as Fersen. So kissing a lot of different people, but not Ayuchi.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, they were not very lucky with the shows together. In terms of happy couples, yeah.
At least certain people got to actually kiss before they died.
Yes. So yes, and you, Lisa, what was your stage kiss?
Oh my god, I technically have 4.
Okay, go ahead. That's number 1.
I have one where I'm being unashamed a trash baby. I'm being Elizabeth trash again. But it's not the Mizunatsuki Okikanami kiss, but the Shinjin Koen version of this, which would be the Saokurama Renjo Makoto kiss. Which keeps amusing me because Renjo Makoto named Rudolph, Shinjin Koen Rudolph, as a favorite role. And then you just look at them, and I think this kiss lasts 15 seconds or whatever. It is really, really long. Death is really taking his time getting that soul out of Rudolph. it's surprisingly...
And then you think, so that's why it was a favorite.
Yeah, that was my first thought. I'm a bad person. But that was my first thought.
I thought the same.
And the second one was one that I was actually really surprised at. We're coming back to Kozuki Wataru here. And Shirahane Yuri as Sense Topic. Which is in Too Short a Time to Fall in Love, which was Kozuki Wataru's Taidan and Shirahane Yuri's last show with Hoshigumi before transferring to Yukigumi to go on to ruin our lives with Mizunatsuki together. And this one is a little bit infuriating because it's a minute long. They are kissing on the ship and they start to slowly turn the stage to rotate the ship out of view. And while the ship is rotating out of view, they just keep standing there in this very same pose, still kissing. And you just keep looking at it and you're like, oh, come on. Seriously, still not done.
No.
It just lasts forever. And my third pick is not really a kiss, but it's as good as a kiss, and it's an oh my god, this is cute moment. Which was in Puck, actually. The very final scene after Puck got his voice back, and Hernia realized who he is when they are sitting on the stone together, next to each other, and they're just both leaning in and touching their foreheads and closing their eyes, and it just looks...
Oh, yeah, that's cute.
It looks so cute and adorable, and just... Oh, they seem so close and so happy. It's all warm and fuzzy. It's not a kiss, but I really wanted to include it here.
Yes, no, that's lovely.
And the last
Forehead
one...
kisses are kisses.
It's not even a forehead kiss, it's just...
Forehead kissing.
Yes, forehead kissing. And the last one is OG kiss, actually. But I'm doing it since we started on the topic of how much pretended tonguing is in there.
Yes.
I wonder which one this is.
Yes, Carly knows what it is. It is from Kozuki Wataru's Jubilee concert, Ache.
Oh, that one.
And it's...
That one. I think we all know this one very well.
And it's the body switch kiss between Kozuki Wataru and Ayaki Nao. Which is probably...
Yes, I think we've all watched that kiss several times.
Which is probably on Tumblr in 50 million versions, but I still love that kiss.
Oh, yes.
I am not even sorry.
Actually,
I love that kiss.
I love the show.
I think the GIFs from that first came out, so many people who I follow on Tumblr reblogged it, then I don't have scrolling on Tumblr on its in pages for mine. That the entire first page of my dashboard was just those GIFs over and over again, except one post in the middle that was a picture of Hugh Jackman. And the rest was just the kissing GIFs.
Amazing.
I tried.
It was pretty good.
Literally a case of I tried to scroll past this, but I can't.
Yeah.
And then I did, and then I scrolled back up.
Okay, yes, that was a really, really good one. Alright, so this brings our episode to an end. Thank you everyone for listening. If there's a romantic show that you love and we haven't discussed, please let us know in the comments. We always love hearing from our listeners. And we'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you very much.
Many thanks to Michael B. and the Arcanum String Quartet for their wonderful arrangement of Sumire no Hana Sakugoro. And thank you, listeners, for enjoying our podcast.